This is not the Inquisition. It is not medieval times. This is the United States of America. Trump lost in court again this week on his transgender military ban. He's now asking the United States Supreme Court to take it up. Trump lost in court this week on denying passports to transgender people as well. Trump lost in court this week on trying to shut down the Voice of America media service. Trump lost in court this week on his bizarre executive order trying to mount a federal takeover of elections. Trump lost today in court as well on denying so-called sanctuary cities and counties federal funds. Trump lost in court today on trying to impose ideological anti-diversity punishments on American school districts.
The hits just keep coming. The avalanche of court losses this week is jaw-dropping. Judges are rejecting Trump's policies, his overreach, and what some are calling outright authoritarianism. Stick around, hit subscribe, and don't miss another unfiltered takedown of political insanity like this. What ignited this total Trump meltdown? It all began with a series of explosive federal rulings halting Trump's use of an archaic law, the Alien Enemies Act from the 1700s, to detain people without due process. This week alone, two more judges, one in Colorado, one in New York, issued sharp rebukes. Trump was blocked from expanding his crackdown using this ancient statute. One judge flat out stated,
quote, "This is not the Inquisition. It is not medieval times. This is the United States of America."
As the courts draw a line in the sand, so does the American public. Across the country, protests erupted, from Des Moines to Rochester to Miami, demanding Trump stop disappearing people and obey court orders. And this week's blowback was just getting started. While Trump's camp keeps trying to push forward with these policies, the legal system and the people aren't having it. Trump's administration is still trying to dodge and delay its response to the Supreme Court directive demanding the return of deported individuals like Mr. Abrego Garcia and another man named Christian. At the same time, Democratic lawmakers like Frederica Wilson are now physically showing up at the very detention centers Trump hoped no one would see.
Now Frederica Wilson, the Democratic congresswoman from Florida, has gone to another one of these facilities, the one in South Florida. That's the so-called Chrome immigration prison in Miami.
Her presence highlights what Trump's team is trying to erase: human rights, visibility, and accountability. But the defense keeps crumbling. Every attempt to block due process, manipulate immigration policy, and impose far-right mandates has been systematically dismantled by judges. The cracks in Trump's wall of denial are showing, and fast. This wasn't a single court ruling. This was a landslide. Let's break it down.
Trump lost in court again this week on his transgender military ban. He's now asking the United States Supreme Court to take it up. Trump lost in court this week on denying passports to transgender people as well. Trump lost in court this week on trying to shut down the Voice of America media service. Trump lost in court this week on his bizarre executive order trying to mount a federal takeover of elections in court. Trump lost today in court as well on denying so-called sanctuary cities and counties federal funds. Trump lost in court today on trying to impose ideological anti-diversity punishments on American school districts.
This isn't just judicial rejection, it's a wholesale revolt against Trump's authoritarianism, even from within his own party. Take North Dakota's Republican governor. He vetoed a Trump-inspired book ban that could have jailed librarians.
That's too far, even for the Republican governor of North Dakota.
Why? Across the nation, protests erupted in every corner, people calling out Trump's disregard for law, his abuse of power, and his silent war on basic rights. In St. Augustine, Florida, protesters defended national parks and public land. In Modesto and Pueblo, outrage over Trump and Republican cuts to Medicaid. In Des Moines and Rochester, Americans rallied to stop deportations without due process. In Charlottesville, fury exploded after immigrants were arrested in a courthouse. In Burlington, Vermont, supporters stood for Mohsen Badawi, arrested during his U.S. citizenship test. This isn't opposition from the radical left. These are mainstream Americans, legal experts, judges, veterans, and yes, even Republican officials. They're fed up, and they're fighting back. And then came the explosive twist. Trump's own administration couldn't even hold its legal ground inside the Supreme Court. The administration is being forced to return people deported to El Salvador, starting with the highly publicized case of Kilmer Abrego Garcia.
Now, a Maryland federal judge has ordered that Trump must return yet another young man who he sent to El Salvador, a man identified only by the name Christian, in court proceedings.
But it gets worse. 2 men, 2 deportations, both under fire, and both being reversed by federal courts. That's not just embarrassing, it's historic. The federal judiciary is stepping in to undo the most extreme Trump immigration actions. That's almost unheard of. And while Trump tries to brush it off, the outrage on the ground is boiling over. Lawmakers like Troy Carter led delegations to Trump's black site-style immigration prisons in Louisiana. Frederica Wilson went to the one in Florida. Why? To expose what Trump's team is trying to hide. Disappearances, secret facilities, and zero accountability. But it's not just immigration. Trump's bizarre executive order to hand state voter rolls to Elon Musk. Yes, his top campaign donor was torched in court.
That was blocked today in court. Trump lost today and
it's a devastating collapse. Policy after policy, all shot down. And we're not done. If you thought the courts were tough on Trump, wait till you hear what the public's saying.
I think it's going over with the American public that they're trying to pull this book ban stuff at places like the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis.
Exactly. Even Republican voters are backing away. Trump isn't just losing legal battles. He's losing hearts and minds. He's cutting Meals on Wheels for the elderly and disabled, dismantling the agency that runs it. He's trying to classify millions of living people as legally dead in the Social Security system, without any way to fix it. And his defense secretary,
who the AP is reporting tonight, installed an insecure internet connection in his office, a public-facing insecure internet connection in his office that bypassed Pentagon security protocols.
And in this America, Trump doesn't get the final say. The courts do. The people do. Subscribe now if you're done watching Rights Get Trampled and you're ready to see power held accountable.